Right, we're back again in quick succession. So efficient. Warhammer 40k, eh? So we attended another tournament, like we said, and we said we're going to do more of these videos. So doing another one, a little tournament report. We went to back into the fire up at Sanctuary Gaming Centre in Mansfield this weekend. It was a 3-round event, 8th edition 40k. No real limitations, just maximum of 3 detachments, 2,000 points, and the missions were quite interesting. Each one was one of the new deployments, so spearhead, assault, table quarter, whatever, all that kind of shit. And it was a maelstrom only, so you scored points for the maelstrom cards, then you scored points for the number of maelstrom cards you got. So you scored the points on the cards, scored points for the number of cards you scored, then you scored kill points, and that was it. And then if you tabled your opponent, you got full points, which was 63. Obviously, Warlord Linebreaker, first strike as well. So it was an interesting event. I took a different list than last time because the Void Shield's been obviously nerfed completely. So I took a mixture of what's really good at the moment and obviously what I've been testing and playing around with and stuff I like. So I took a Vanguard detachment with 2 Inquisitors, just bare bones Inquisitors, Psychers, so these are amazing for Smite, 55 points for a character, can't get targeted, 5 wounds, it has Smite, and the other Inquisition powers are really good as well. Dominate, you can take an opponent's character, shoot them with it. I was shooting people with their own Gulliman and stuff, really good. So 2 Inquisitors, then 3 single Acolytes, just to make it legal, and to obviously put inside Storm Ravens to protect the other Inquisitors when the Storm Ravens explode and stuff. Then I took an Airwing detachment with 3 Storm Ravens, Ultramarine Storm Ravens, all just DACA, so Hurricane Bolters, Assault Cannons, Heavy Bolters. These are nice and cheap, and Heavy Bolters are still really good with the reroll from Gulliman. So Storm Ravens, as I'm sure everybody knows, are really hot right now. Like the best lists are Dante with 6 Storm Ravens, Gulliman with 5 Storm Ravens, Drago with 5 Storm Ravens. You know, there's all sorts of ways to play it. But I decided to take a different list. So I had the Inquisitors in there. Then I had a Supreme Command attachment with 5 Inquisitors. Again, all with just nothing, just Psychers with Smite. And then I had, in the Vanguard detachment as well, 3 Ultramarine Dreadnoughts with twin autocannons. So I had 3 Ravens, 3 Dreadnoughts, Gulliman, and then 7 Inquisitors and 3 Acolytes. So this list is really good against Ravens as well, actually, because you go first, because you can put the Dreadnoughts inside the Ravens as well as the Inquisitors and the Henchmen. So you go first automatically, and then you can hit them with 3 Storm Ravens turn 1, and then your Dreadnoughts, normally killing 2 Ravens or killing 3 if you get lucky. Then they hit back and normally kill 2 or 3 of your Ravens. But then all your Inquisitors fall out and they all smite to kill 1 Raven, and then you're normally in quite good shape from there. And then the Inquisitors are very hard to actually pin down because you can't target multiple Inquisitors. A Raven, if it wants to shoot an Inquisitor, has to shoot all its weapons at it because of the character rules. So it's a good list. I tested it quite a lot and decided to take it. So we went up there, and my first round opponent was Mikey Herbert, a good player. He does the Hellstorm Wargaming Twitch podcast. Some of you may know him. So played him round 1. His list was sort of fluffy, well painted Gulliman list. So he had Big G Man. He had some sniper scouts with camo cloaks. He had 5 Adeptus Custodes, Razorback with Assault Cannon, Stormbolter, 3 Grav Centurions, Tactical Squad with Melter Guns in a drop pod, 2 Librarians, some Scions, a Taurox, Apothecary, an Assassin, and a Stormhawk Interceptor. So not quite what do you call it? A refined list, but he was using models that he'd painted really well, which looked really nice, and they all went really well together. And the combo with the Apothecary, Gulliman, and the Centurion is actually quite brutal. So we deployed. It was the hammer and anvil deployment with the triangle in the middle. I went first and basically charged everything at him and shot everything at the custodies to kill them. Killed a couple of scouts as well, and killed one centurion. And I killed the Stormhawk Inceptor first turn as well, so that's quite important. So then he fights back and actually kills a Storm Raven with the Grav Centurions, which I was quite impressed with. They do still do a lot of damage, and they're really good against vehicles, especially with the reroll from Gulliman. And he drops the Melter Squad in my back lines to kill a Dreadnought alongside the Librarians, who don't do too much, actually. I just think the Librarians are too expensive for what they are now. But he doesn't charge his Gulliman at my Gulliman, which I thought was a bit of a mistake. And that lets me, in the next turn, charge my Gulliman to his Gulliman. So, and that's what happens. I kill his Gulliman, but he gets back up. And then I kill him again in combat after that. And then from there, it's basically mopping up. So the Inquisitors do a great job of just killing chaff. So I was able to kill his pod, the 5 Marines, the Imperial Space Marine, both Librarians, just with Inquisitors casting Smite. And yeah, basically cleaned up from there and tabled him, I think, turn 5 or 6. But he killed quite a lot of my stuff. He killed 2 Ravens, he killed 2 Dreadnoughts, he killed 2 Inquisitors, I think, and all the Acolytes. So Grav Centurions are still good if you have the right combo, and the Apothecary reviving them every turn was really good as well. Stick them in cover, they're really hard to hurt. Round 2, I played against John, who I also played against at Cali a couple of weeks ago. So he had Astra Militar again, but he dropped the big tank, and instead he had taken basically more Tauroxes. He had 6 Taurox Primes, 3 with missiles and autocannons, and then 3 with Stormbolters, Gatling cannons, and autocannons. He had a Manticore, he had 2 Wyverns, he had 50 Conscripts, then he had 2 units of full Scions dropping down with 4 plasma guns and 1 plasma pistol, and then 2 command squads dropping down with 1 with plasma, 1 with all melter, which melter's actually really good against the Storm Ravens, so that was quite scary. He had Primara, Psyker, Yarrick, Harker, and all the other good stuff as well to buff his army. So again, I had first turn and basically shot everything into his army and did a lot less than I expected. I think I killed a Taurox, crippled 1, I killed the Manticore and killed some of the conscripts. He also had an Eversur Assassin, actually. Then in his turn, he comes down, kills a Storm Raven, and kills 2 Dreadnoughts, so does quite a lot of damage. But then the Inquisitors again fall out of the Storm Ravens and just by themselves with Smite and Frag Grenades kill all of the Scions, which frees up my back lines. There's no more plasma there, which just lets the Ravens and everything else and the Dreadnoughts focus on the, or the last Dreadnought, focus on the Tauroxes and basically kill them one by one. And then I was able to advance turn 3 at him, charging stuff with Inquisitors and smiting. And with the smite, it's really good. They have a threat range of about 30 inches max, the Inquisitors, because you can advance, and then you get +1 to your advance from Gulliman, and then you can cast smite at 18 inches range, which is really, really powerful. So I tabled him, I think, turn 4 or 5. But again, a lot of my army died. He killed 2 Storm Ravens, both Dreadnoughts, 2 Inquisitors, all the Acolytes. I think he wounded Gulliman as well. So a closer game than you would have thought by the tabling. And then round 3, I played against a very good player, Rob Edwards, who normally wins most of these events. I think he won the final at Sanctuary last year in 7th edition with Eldar. So I played against him the last round. He had another Scion and Astra Militarum list. Quite a good list. He had I think 30 or so conscripts, Yarrick, Harker, Astropaths, some Primara Psykers, some other guys giving buffs. He had 2 autocannon teams, 3 mortar teams, 2 infantry squads with heavy bolters. He had 2 manticores, he had a wyvern, he had 4 plasma command squads, 4 tempestors, he had 4 normal scion squads as well with all plasma. So quite a brutal list, and I knew basically, I was going first anyway. I knew I had to kill most of his tanks turn 1 to basically cripple him, so that when he comes down and kills 2 Storm Ravens, which is mathematically what he kills, I would still have enough to finish all those plasma guys and then still advance into his lines. And that's basically how it went. So I went first, shot the dreadnoughts at the Tauroxes, killed. Oh, we had 2 Tauroxes as well. Sorry, killed both Tauroxes turn 1, killed both Manticores turn 1 with some really hot rolling and some bad saves on his part. Killed a mortar team. I killed an autocannon team. I killed 2 infantry squads and killed some of the conscripts. So really, really brutal turn 1. The dreadnoughts were really good against his vehicles, especially wounding Tauroxes on 3s is really, really good. And split firing the Storm Ravens is ridiculous, just like sending missiles into the Manticores and then putting all the small guns onto the infantry was really, really good. And then again, so he comes down turn 1, drops all his command squads down, drops all his scions down, tries to strike me back. He gets really unlucky with his rolls, so I think he lost 12 of his own guys to overheating plasma, because obviously when you're shooting at a Storm Raven, 2s become 1s as well. So loads of his own guys died, and he was really, really bad to wound roll. So he killed 1 Storm Raven and put 1 down to 5 wounds, which is below average. And that basically gave me another massive chance in the next turn to strike back. So again, the Inquisitors come out of the Storm Ravens and smited all the Scions, and the crippled Storm Raven shot the Scions as well. So I killed all the Scions except for a couple of the Tempesta Primes who are running away, and then shot the other Storm Raven to kill his Wyvern, and then finish off some of the infantry. And then from there, basically moving forward with Gulliman and everyone around him and the dreadnoughts, and just gunning down the characters one by one, the ones I could target. His conscripts dogpiled an Inquisitor to protect himself from getting shot, and basically circled me so I couldn't fall back. So that was a good play on his part. But again, you can smite inside combat, so I just smited my way out of combat, smited into combat as well, and basically Inquisitors are just very good. Any cheap smite platform is very good now. The ETC lists came out recently. You could see people are taking Primara Psychers, Astropaths, Weird Boys, Spirit Seers. They're taking all the cheap smite access they can get. So yeah, tabled him, I think, turn 6. Again, he killed a lot of my army, and he did a lot of damage. He scored a lot of points. He played really well. Basically, hot dice on my part, and the lists meant basically he couldn't face up to the just the Daka from the Ravens and the Hurricane Bolters, especially when I'm re-rolling to wound with everything as well. So ended up 3-0 with 3 tablings, and ended up second on tie breaks. So I was pretty happy with that. And I think the tournament just showed again the power of Storm Ravens, and how 8th edition is basically a very rock paper scissors game. So it's like either I have my list which alpha strikes and kills half your list and then tables you later on, or I have a massive MSU list which survives the alpha strike and then tables you later on. Like we saw a lot of tabling during the weekend. There was another player, Tom, there, who used the 5 Ravens and Gulliman, and the only reason he didn't win all his games was because he played against the Tau Commander list, which has 6 commanders with all fusion blasters who don't care you have first turn and they kill your Ravens anyway. So there's a lot of rock paper scissors, I think, and a lot of bad matchups or good matchups in 8th edition, and hopefully the codexes will smooth this out a bit. But yeah, thanks for listening or watching, and we'll do more of these in the future, and leave some feedback, leave some comments. Thanks.